just not just the metal bands, but everything that's on it. I mean, it's literally like spanning everything I've ever listened to since I was a kid. Like today in the gym in the hotel, Tom DeLong was in the you know, on the treadmill and stuff. I'm like, you know, when I was 12, that dude was my idol.
King of the world,
yeah.
And my first band I ever tried out for was a Blink-182 song. I couldn't play it, so I didn't make it in.
It's just crazy to be around like every band you've like pretty much ever listened to. And then for our stage, it's like the best lineup.
Yeah.
Machine Head, Lamb of God, Gojira, Mastodon, In Flames. I mean,
we've toured with pretty much everyone on this tour too. Like, we've been running into people nonstop.
That could have been a festival itself. I mean, that's a
band.
sick lineup. And luckily, you know, over the last 6-7 years of touring, we've become really good friends with a lot of these bands. In Flames and Machine Head, in particular, really close friends of ours. So it's just a good time, and to see all these bands play, to hang out after the shows, and experience such a great country like Australia, we're really blessed. That's kind of funny, like a lot of us kind of shared that same thing coming into metal. It was like we're all into what was popular within our groups of friends, like pop,
especially Florida.
It's got really big. I mean, still now. I mean, you got bands like, you know, like the second, third generation of Florida pop. I don't want to call them pop punk, but like a Day to Remember is kind of the heavier version of like what's been coming out of Florida for the last 10, 15 years. Like when I was in school, Newfound Glory was like, you know, they're from my hometown, and they're kind of like the big pop punk band of the time, and it's kind of carried on that tradition. And that's another thing on this festival. There's a ton of Florida bands.
The main guy that was there from the beginning was John Paul Douglas. He's the one that did the documentary. He did the photography, came up with some of the initial things. He was there when we were playing, bouncing off demos and album title and lyrics. He was helping me along the lines with, hey, what do you think of this set of lyrics? Or what do you think of this idea for an album thing? And we would do trips into the woods in Florida and just go out there for days and practice photography or videography stuff. And so John Paul Douglas did that stuff. Wes Sumner also worked on the documentary. Danny Jones worked on all the graphics. Megan Geesey worked on the costuming. And Ramon Bufiseth did the live DVD, the quote live DVD, and the music videos. A big thing, like I said earlier from the first question, with this record being so different, our live DVD has no crowd, our documentary has no color, our music videos have no performance. It's in that line of doing things different. And all the artists on this album do not come from a metal background. They all come from different things, you know, outside of musical, really, like musical influence. And that's the big thing with this record as well, is it wasn't influenced by music, like, hey, we want to sound like this kind of band or this kind of thing. It was influenced by other mediums, whether film or art or visual art or whatever it may be. The art we make, we don't explain what it is or why it is, but I mean, social media, I guess some people can still carry on the persona of no one knows what they do, when they do, or what they do, but
I think you have to meet that cutoff.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows our intimate details of how personal everything can get, but it still is a lot more than it used to be. I mean, the fact that I have a food blog, I don't think most metal bands or black metal bands have that kind of thing, but I appreciate the fact that we could do things like that. So it's not as much of a mystique as I guess it was back in the day, but people appreciate that. I think people want to know a little bit more.
Kind of tying up with the social media side of things, like with your Facebook and your Twitter, because you can link all those things together. I think it's great, and I think this is a rebuilding time period for the music industry, and it's not going to happen overnight, but I think, I don't think it's all doom and gloom.
Yeah, people definitely have to get with the times. The people who are trying to fight it, it's not going to work. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going in this direction. I think a lot more hard media is going to go away. I think CDs will eventually go away. I think DVDs obviously are shrinking, and it's more about streaming. It's more of an instant gratification, instant access to so many different things. I think that that's the way it is, and I appreciate life that way. I don't, yeah, it's, I mean, to quote, it's funny to quote a band, how we used to wait for things and we don't anymore. And I guess I can appreciate that. I like it that way, where I'm sure a lot of other people don't. I'm sure a lot of other people prefer waiting in line at the CD store or the vinyl store to go buy something, but I came into the music world at the CD time. I didn't know much about tapes or vinyl. Never heard vinyl really before, so
it's kind of even come back.
Yeah,
I mean vinyl is popular once again, and that's because people can, you know, people from my generation and even younger can go online and read about those kind of things. That's how they discovered vinyl. They didn't, you know, grow up with that. They don't have that connection like with people that used to listen to vinyl when they would buy records have, you know. It's more of a nostalgia
like a rediscovery kind of thing. But I'm addicted to Spotify. I love the fact that nowadays I could be playing Modern Warfare online and people on Facebook can see that I'm doing that. Maybe people can play with me, or they can see exactly what I'm listening to on Spotify and be like, oh, weird, he's listening to that, I want to check it out.
There's a sick app that's on Spotify. I think correct me if I'm wrong, it's called like Concert Kicker or something like that. And what it does is it takes anything that's in your playlist, your like most popular playlist that you listen to, and it tells you when any of those bands are coming to your town, and it makes a calendar for you.
Yeah,
so there's
I
like
saw
no
on your
way.
thing, some kid said, oh, because of you recommending this app, I found out you're playing.
Yeah, I think that's insane. I mean, now information is so, that's like the value of it. Maybe the streaming isn't the same amount of money that you're gonna get from selling a CD, but that information of people knowing you're gonna play a show and coming to your show, I mean, that's...
And it's more than your stuff getting pirated.
Yeah, that's definitely... I'll take that over people pirating it. I'm definitely not for that, but I think Spotify and streaming is the way forward overall.
Yeah, technology's definitely going in the right direction, and you have to embrace it, or bands have to embrace it, or they're gonna die off.